Alright, we are back. Can't sleep it this time. Okay. Let's get rested. Yeah, I'm almost out of this food. I guess I should make jerky. That'd be an easy make. Let's make that. Let's see, just grab 10 and 10, yeah? Or is it 2020? I think it's 10 and 10. Oh. It's damaging the old campfire there. I gotta repair that. There we go. Alright. Okay. We need to do merchant search. So merchant should be somewhere. And I wonder if I could go out in here. Let's check that first. Let's check that out first. I absolutely want to find a merchant. Okay, let's go, like, in here. See if we can't go around the swamp, you know what I mean? I do want to talk about No Rest for the Wicked today. I'm going to be doing a lot of ranting about that, but should be a fun merchant search as well. Don't get it now. No Rest for the Wicked is not in a good spot right now for a number of design reasons that I'll go into a lot of depth with, but it's just not in a good state right now. They did 2 hot fixes in 2 days, which literally just, the game came out on Thursday. That's incredible. We didn't get one today yet. It might be later, who knows? Who knows? But that's already phenomenal, right? That's like, imagine, right? Like, that's nuts. And just about half the stuff on my list of complaints on a Google Docs for like a notes thing for video or what have you, or ranting, half the stuff on my list was just removed. They fixed it. I was like, oh, nice. It was really sick. And, you know, there's still like a ton of really bad problems with that game. So much so that, I believe it's like DS Lily or somebody, this one Path of Exile streamer, YouTuber, she made a review over No Rest for the Wicked, and it was so good. It was just mostly negative, only 4 good points about the game. And she was so in-depth about its problems. And that video has got like 200 likes and 4 dislikes. It is phenomenal. I could not make a better negative review than she did. But yeah, I mean, the ratio says it all, but like a lot of people are shilling for it. Like, I saw some Souls PvPers shilling for the game. Like, why? Why? It doesn't even have PvP yet. Why shill for it? It doesn't make any sense. Like, just lying, like misrepresenting, like totally terrible things. It's just like, I had to go. Like, if they're just gonna misrepresent and shill for like any old new game, and like not say, like, if the game goes bad, say like, oh, oops, I fucked up. Oops, we fucked up. It's like, all right, I gotta go. It's gone. I'm out. You know. And the red flag should have been when they hyped up Lords of the Fallen, the new one. It turns out that game was really fucking bad, and they didn't say anything other than just like stuff got fixed and like, yeah, we fixed certain things. And devs worked on this, and you know, PvP is flawed like this, and there was no additional PvE critique, which should have been done, and no like, oh, we fucked up and this game was really bad. I thought, and I haven't really been saying this, which is great, I had some hype videos for No Rest for the Wicked. But of course, considering I'm going to be talking about all of the negatives and actually critiquing them, there's going to be a great deal of oopsies from me. Oops, you know, I didn't think that there would be all of these issues, and here they are, you know. And what's interesting is that even the sort of weird shills, their ceiling of this game is lower than mine. And I have way more criticism of the game than they do. But they think like, oh, this is gonna be like a good, like one of the Souls PvPers fucking, he said, you know, this is gonna be like one of the best Souls likes. That there's, you know, like a 9 out of 10. And me, I look at the combination of factors that are in this game, and I think it could be one of, if not the best pieces of media ever. Ever. So that's what I think when the game could be done right. And they think that the game could be like, oh, pretty good, like a really solid game. Like a very solid game. You know, not just like an amazing masterpiece of the highest order that everybody should experience. No. It's like a good game that like people who enjoy the genre might enjoy. And I look at that and I'm just like, oh, this is sandwich theory, but in a different regard. Remember I was talking about sandwich theory with certain Final Fantasies, specifically 14 and 16, where if you look at the way that people like something and you think, hey, that doesn't seem like the way that I would express my approval, or hey, that doesn't look like you're giving enough detail in the praise that would match the conclusion of your review or statement or what have you, then there's probably something off, and that maybe that there's something flawed going on. And that's exactly what's going on here. There's not enough detail, there's not enough praise in the potential of this game. They think it's just going to be like very good and not one of the best pieces of art ever, which it clearly has the potential to be, in my opinion. And so it's like, why would I trust them to be able to make ultimately the best types of constructive criticisms for that game? Why would I trust them to have the game's best interests in mind when talking about it? I wouldn't. You wouldn't trust them. You wouldn't trust them at all. Because their eyes are set so low in their goals for this early access game. It's an early access game. And it's going to be able to change so much. It's already changed to a good amount in these 2 hot fixes. Check that out now. That is nice. That must be, where is that? Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's already a decent amount of shit that's been fixed. And so I'm just thinking, like, do they think that it's not going to be different at launch? Do they think that things aren't going to change drastically? Have they experienced an early access launch? You know, I'm kind of spoiled, I guess. We all are, if you're in my community. We're spoiled by Valheim being a $20 early access game that came out with about like 300 to 400 hours worth of full satisfying experience, full feeling experience. It wasn't full, it wasn't complete, but it felt like a complete game. It felt like one of the best magnificent experiences of recent time, and that the potential for it to be completed could be one of the best games ever made. And I still think that way today. And so I give it the best constructive criticism that I could think of, and I keep in mind this when I do critique the game relative to other games with the perspective of what they did provide for an early access game. Just phenomenal relative to everything speaking. Like, just, oh my god, they did a pretty damn good job. And they continue to do so. And it doesn't mean that we should stop giving them constructive criticism, We absolutely should. Iron Gate's not flawless, but they did it a hell of a lot better than No Rest for the Wicked at early access launch from Moon Studios. And Moon Studios is a much, much, much bigger development team who have actually had, I think, longer time working on it before. And they give you much less hours of gameplay at a much steeper drop-off of quality. And that just pains me to hear, because this game, No Rest for the Wicked, is a combination of Valheim. There's some survival aspects in it with gathering and mining and all this stuff. But there's, very limited Valheim-esque aspects in that regard. It's still like survival and it's like interesting in that type of way. But I look at that and I think like, okay, that's cool. What else is it? Oh, it's, top-down action RPG, and it's got Souls-like mechanics. Oh, cool. Well, there's also all sorts of gear systems in terms of upgrading gear, customizing gear with gems that do different effects. It's top-down and it has weighted, measured combat in such that you cannot just go around mowing down enemies with like 2 clicks, like in a Diablo or a hack and slash game of old. And in such, it reminds me of this game called Champions of North, Champions Return to Arms. And you can combine that with what I think are the lesser versions of those made by the same studio, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1 and 2. These are, for the PlayStation 2, they are top-down action RPGs that have weighty combat and measured combat, but they still have this gem system and shit like that where you can customize weapons, and they have random loot like No Rest for the Wicked does. So No Rest for the Wicked looks like it is a combination of Souls. So I've got like probably 2,000 hours combined, more than that, in all the Souls games currently. A little bit of Valheim aspects. Of course, I love Valheim. 2,200 hours in this. It also has Champions vibes, so Champions Return to Arms would be the better one. And that one, gameplay-wise, is just amazing. I put in at least over 2,000 hours into that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Of course, Elden Ring, Valheim, Champions Return to Arms, and then Final Fantasy IX are my favorite games ever, Final Fantasy IX being my favorite one. But you add in this unique and the frankly incredible art style from Moon Studios, the amazing score, what is potentially an amazing story with good voice acting, great character design that's, 1 star, very stylized. Let's go set up a portal and then fight him. You add on all of these things that I specifically love Final Fantasy IX for, but with like a different gear system that I still enjoy from these other games, and combat from these other games that I still enjoy. And it's like, okay, well, you have potential to just have my favorite game ever. What's bad about that, right? Quite a lot, actually. Yeah, quite a lot. It's tragically unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Certain resources only give you 1. Sometimes when you dig up clay, and they just buffed this in the latest patch, but you have places that you can dig with a shovel. Little buried things. And it doesn't give you buried treasure. It only sometimes gives you clay, which is a town upgrade, of course. So there's that, and I look at that and I'm just like, really? Not even like buried treasure? What? Like sometimes they'll give you a food ingredient, and food system to heal, kind of like Valheim there. Yeah. The food being limited, and that's your primary source of healing, and it doesn't respawn, and you just can't craft nearly as much of it as you can with Valheim, is ridiculous. I'm dead. Nope, JK. That's definitely a problem. It's like they literally just didn't learn from Bloodborne. Inventory weight and inventory space being as limited as it is. Like, you didn't learn from Champions Return to Arms. What's going on? Like, the game looks like it's inspired from Champions Return to Arms and, like, those types of PS2 games. And look what happened, okay? Well, Champions 1, there is limited inventory weight. You pick up a bunch of this randomized gear. It drops very frequently. Gear doesn't drop nearly as frequently in No Rest for the Wicked. And it is randomized. But they also have requirements. I'll get to that later. But you see all this, and your inventory gets full in Champions of Norath. So you have to use an item called a Gate Scroll, which will take you out of the current dungeon and immediately teleport you back to the village. It'll take you literally right to the shop if you put it there. So you literally just go over and say, oh, okay, now I get to sell my shit and then buy additional good stuff. If it's there. The shop is randomized too, which is kind of neat because sometimes there can be really good shit in there. And that is just a fantastic feeling. It's like, oh, I have enough money to buy this really good thing. Yay. That feels good. But the problem was that the weight limit wasn't enough, and Gate Scrolls, just going back to the shop and then buying new shit, was just quite frankly not as satisfying as playing the main campaign and going dungeoneering and actually getting into combat with the shit that you were supposed to get. And it was a game that one wanted to be less about shopping and inventory than it actually was. And I think that No Rest for the Wicked is the same, but they just haven't learned that lesson somehow in development time. And I know it's still development time in early access, but it's like, how do you not, like, the game's been apparently in development for 6 years. How do you not realize that? How do you not understand that? How do you not study the past of the genre and learn from that? It's inconceivable to me. How the fuck did that happen? So that's super, super strange to me. I just don't understand how don't you learn from that? Because in Champions Return to Arms, the sequel, they increase your inventory weight significantly. Just right off the bat for free. They're like, oh, well, you know, this game that we released in 2004 compared to the past one that came out in 2002, let's give you quality of life with inventory because we want this game to be about the shopping, the story, the combat. Not the shopping. We want it to be less about the shopping and more about the combat, more about the story, more about the enemies and the bosses and the voice acting and the art design. And we don't want you to be just gate scrolling back and shopping as much. And in this game, the inventory is limited. You have random drops, but they're not as random. But again, your inventory gets filled up with a bunch of food and everything. And you have limited slots and not limited weight. So, what's the solution? Well, you can use a resource, a limited special resource, in order to upgrade the amount of inventory slots you have. Or you can use the same resource to get additional ring slots. Or additional weapon slots. That's like, oh man, I wonder which one I'll fucking choose, huh? Jesus Christ. So bad. Like, of course I'm going to choose the weapon slots, because they actually have something really cool with the weapon slots where it doesn't take your equip plate. So that you can customize different equip loads and just swap between them on the fly. There are also special rune attacks that each weapon has, up to 4 of. And it's really cool because you can build up focus with one weapon, use a rune or two, and then swap over and then use the stronger runes, or any sort of combination of this. And so you can juggle all of these different special attacks in custom combos, and that's a fantastic idea. But we should have more of that and less of, well, I'm going to have to go back to town now. You know what there is in Valheim when your inventory gets full, when you got weight? You hop in your fucking pocket portal and you go back. It's quick. You store your shit, and that's it. You have to run all the way back to... It's less convenient than a gate scroll. It's less convenient than a portal. You have to go back to a... you basically your save and portal point, and then you teleport back to town, and then you have to run through town to specific areas. Parts of your town upgrades, by the way, there are town upgrades. Parts of them, okay, are just shortcuts through the town in order to make things more convenient for you. This is the game equivalent of basically a firefighter starting a fire in your house and being like, I'm here, you can like pay me to set out your fire. Like, motherfucker, you started the fire. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I don't mind games when they have inventory concerns. Obviously, I love Valheim. It's fucking clearly. I don't mind if there's weight concerns here and there. It just has to be more convenient. You have to show me that you've learned the lessons that the older games in the genre have already learned. And it doesn't look like they have, which kind of sucks. So yeah, negative points on that. These town upgrades also take real-time hours. Real-time hours. Minimum 1 hour. Real time. To apply. I fucking hated that Enshrouded had 5 minutes per ingot smelted on their time. That was terrible, okay? This is exponentially worse than that. What? Who is thinking? Why? There are also like dailies and weeklies in this game, which are time gated for some reason. So basically like lesser aspects of like MMOs and mobile games that they're adding in for some reason. Like, do you expect me to respect that? That is ridiculous design. I don't respect that at all. That's horrible. You know, one of the Souls PvPers that was shilling this game just completely didn't mention that the town upgrades had real hours before they actually got implemented. And it's just like, oh no, it's such a shill. It's such an obvious shill. Oh god, that's so bad. That's so bad, dude. There is also a durability factor, which, like, for some reason there are some weirdos who don't mind the durability thing. It's not like Valheim durability. It's not like, okay, you use the weapon, then the durability goes down a little bit, and then you repair it, and it's all about immersion. No, it is supposed to be like some sort of punishment for death. But guys, in the early game, and again, remember this, loot is randomized. And loot and gear have stat requirements. You also start off as a Wretch equivalent in Souls, so you have 10 stats across the board. There is no respec right now, and when respec gets introduced, it'll be at a heavy cost, according to the CEO of the CEO of Moon Studios, who makes No Rest for the Wicked, Thomas Mahler. He said that it's going to be at a heavy cost because he wants it to be meaningful. And it's like, okay, well then you can just go in and get literally just shit weapons. And if you're testing them out, or if you're like new to the genre and you suck, or if you're trying to skillfully get better at bosses and you keep dying, even though durability now is only 5 drop, if you have durability of 100, that's 20 tries. A lot of people take 20 tries comfortably to try to get used to Souls-like bosses. Alright? If you're going to put them that for like the first boss of the game, their gear is going to break. Guess what? They invested stats for that. Now what happened? Now what's going on? Okay? Okay? You don't necessarily have other gear that fits your stats. So now you have to bare fist everything. It's like, yeah, you could, at this point you can go repair shit. You can go and say, hey, I'm gonna go to town and I'm gonna repair, or for the first boss you can just repair at a blacksmith for free, and that's annoying because it's just more of like not playing the interesting parts of the game. But hey, you know, you could do it and it is free, except once you beat the first boss it's no longer free. and they reduced the cost for you in a recent hotfix to repair gear. They said, okay, people are complaining about this, we'll reduce the cost. Why not? We'll reduce the cost. Okay, well, no, how about you remove the cost? How about you learn from past games and you remove the durability from the game? Like, they effectively removed it in Dark Souls 3, and it was just an immersion thing, and then they actually removed it in Elden Ring, and nobody's fucking complaining. Nobody complains. Yes, on death there is a punishment in Souls game. You lose all of your currency, which is also your experience for the next level, or levels. But you can just go back and get it back. You go to where you died, and you get your shit back. And it's really easy to get your shit back and then keep going, especially if you are playing one of the later Souls entries. And even more so, especially with Elden Ring, because you can use the Twiggy Cracked Crystal tier, or any of the sacrificial twigs, to just die and then not lose your loot, and then spend it all on what have you, or level up for the occasion, and then keep going. Fight the boss when you have like no runes to lose. And I'm just like, have you guys like played the PvE? Have we experienced not only like the Souls PvPers who are shilling this game, but also like the devs? Like, have you actually seen the games evolve and seen the lessons that Miyazaki and From Software have learned over time? Have you fucking seen that? For real? Like, are you learning at all from these past genres in terms of quality of life? Like, they had to consciously make the choice. No, we want the durability to be as fucking jank as possible. No, we want it to cost money to repair shit at the town. Like, we want our games to have dailies and weeklies and time-gated content. We want our game to have all this fucking horseshit in it. It's like, you consciously made the choice for it to be like that? Are you for fucking real? And then people are just like defending that. Like, guys, it doesn't make any sense for a Souls-like game to have this type of durability system. It's just something very easily understandable for quality of life. It just does not make any sense. And a lot of people will just say like, oh, well, you didn't get like randomized loot good for your fucking setup in the first like however often in the game. You didn't get that. You didn't. You didn't get like the cool boss loot from the boss that you just killed, even though like 80% of people get it. Oh, well, just like take your same character to a new world and then just farm the boss and like keep repeating that until you do it, because nothing fucking respawns in this game. So you think, oh yeah, like the enemies, you know, I'll just get all this stuff back in like a little bit. Like, no problem, dude. Like, I'll warp here and all the enemies will come back. No, only the farmables, the gatherables will come back. Those are the only things that respawn. New enemies will spawn, but they are new and different and more difficult enemies, and only after a certain amount of time / after a certain amount of progress is made will they spawn. It is not respawning. So again, just like the way that builds work, the way that stats work right now, combined with randomized loot, combined with lack of respawning, means that experimentation is very, very low. And if people don't experiment, well, they're not going to be very good at the game. And if they're not very good at the game, well, guess what? They're going to die more often. And if they're going to die more often, well, they're going to spend more on repairs. And if they spend more on repairs, well, then they can't spend more on other shit. And well, if they can't spend more on other shit to experiment at the town, and if they get bad loot, you know, randomized loot, then guess fucking what? Now they can't buy other set gear that might fit their stats. Now they can't buy set materials that they can use to craft gear that might fit their stats. And this is just an infinite regress of fucking hot garbage dev design. It's just hot fucking garbage design. I could not fathom many worse designs outside of just literally mobile games. Just mobile games. Mobile games, and maybe name the shittiest MMO you know. There you go. There you go. One of the Souls PvPers that was defending this this strange fucking version of the game that is No Rest for the Wicked right now, he was saying that the game is just, 50% inventory management, and that's just the game. This is just the type of genre that the game is, except it's not marketed as that at all. And I think he also mentioned, like, oh, that's the Diablo part of the game, and then immediately one person in his chat is just like, I don't like the Diablo part of the game. And this is not only making Diablo look worse than it is, which is fucking shocking, right? But it's also making light of the Diablo community, because they obviously are very dedicated and very passionate about having a good stash and about being able to have tons of inventory quality of life. But also it's making extreme light of No Rest for the Wicked. I'm fucking certain that Thomas Mahler, CEO of Moon Studios, would not appreciate at all that this game is being referred to as being half about inventory fucking management, alright? And certainly that's not what it's marketed as. So, guess what? That's probably a giant fucking mistake. Which, big shock, it's an early access game, there are going to be quite a bit of mistakes. So, I do expect this to change. I do expect a lot of this trash to change. And, oh my god, if it does change, and if it does go on course to reach its potential, it won't just be, a 9 out of 10 Souls game. It just, it won't be that. It will be one of the best pieces of art that has ever existed, okay? Because that combination of the incredible art, voice acting, the unique style, the character design, like, everything that we're going through right now, combined with some of the best possible linking ups of genres that I have ever seen in a game that seems to be tailored directly towards me in concept. You add all those things together, yeah, it's going to be one of my favorite fucking things ever. Things. Like, the ceiling that it could be is so high. So, and I'll let you guys know when I continue playing right now. I'm not going to until it adds remapped keys. Oh, by the way, you can't. There's no custom keybinds, no custom controls in that game yet, for some fucking reason. And then the controls that it does have are extremely jank. The jump doesn't have its own button. It's connected to your sprint, which is also connected to the way that you climb up things. Yeah, that's genius. Somebody didn't learn from Bloodborne, huh? Yeah, awful, terrible. That's just who did that? And think about Valheim. People always say, can't we just map roll to one key? Why does it have to be a combination of two things? And I completely agree. It really shouldn't be a combination of two things. Valheim, okay? Valheim was my first PC game, guys. I want you to be fucking aware of that. I've never played a PC game before Valheim. It was my first one. The stars aligned, okay? In February 2021, when Valheim came out, okay? I had got my PC and everything for it that holiday season. And it was my first PC game. I can learn controls that are different. I can learn controls that are non-intuitive to me. I'm fine with that. But there are a bunch of jank in Valheim that I'm going to need to change. Alright? And that I have changed. Check this shit out. Look at where auto run is. Okay? Look at where auto pickup is. This type of shit. You see that? Look at toggle walk. These things are where they are for a reason. so that they can be convenient to me, so that they can be not fucking me over when I look at things like auto run, sit, toggle walk. I need those out of the fucking way in order to perform well. Because if I accidentally click a wrong thing and I'm sitting down, which used to be like X or some bullshit, if I'm, hitting that to sit down, like trying to hit something else, that could kill me in a boss fight or a tough encounter. That could kill anybody and has killed people. And so it's like, why the fuck is that there? Well, it doesn't have to be there. I can remap my keybinds and fix shit. I have never played a game that has square for attack and X to dodge. I've had many games that were X to attack and square to dodge, or square to do something like interact or something. I've played plenty of games that were X to attack, square to dodge. I don't really play shooters, so I had never understood games that were like, that used the triggers and the bumpers to attack. Never understood that until I started playing Souls games. And then I got used to it. And now I understand that. I understand R1, L1. I understand R2s and L2s, especially after Elden Ring. Oh boy, do I understand R2s and L2s, right? I understand all this. I can get a grasp on muscle memory just fine. But there's going to be a heavy amount of jank. And some of this jank, I need to fucking sort out. And when you can't sort out one thing from the next, this is ridiculous. And I understand, like, oh, early access. This is a $40 early access experience. Valheim was $20. No rest for the wicked. With all of my experimentation, and I love build crafting, and I love grinding out to see if I can find unique weapons and unique builds, I could probably squeeze out 100 hours in this game. Some people are fucking Mount Rushmore, okay? They are Russian, alright? And they're playing this shit like 15 hours through the main campaign, right? That's not like never the way that I like to play. I love to take my time, think things over, analyze, even if loot is random. Even if all this shit has requirements and things, I can start off multiple runs and really get to the bottom of shit. It would still be around 100 hours or so, I think. And judging off of that, $40, I mean, again, compared to Valheim's around 400 hours if I tested everything fully on the first co-op run. 5 bosses, like, things have changed by now, like, Jesus Christ. Even though I got No Rest for the Wicked on sale for $35, it is way, way, way too overpriced for it is right now. $10 to $15 it should have been. $10 to $15. Do not get it now. I will jump back in once they add custom keybinds so that I can get rid of some of the jank. I will also set it to my muscle memory just so that I can have a good experience immediately and just really get into the nitty gritty. I want to do that. It has so much potential, it's fucking unreal, but it is in such a bad state that it is infuriating to see how many people are shilling for it. Ridiculous. Check, yo, I'm fucking moving. I'm getting into real merchant territory now. I think what's funny is there are a lot of marketing problems with that game too. Like, it's saying, like, we're coming for you, Path of Exile and Diablo. This game plays nothing like those games. Nothing at all. And it's like, if you want it to be known as an action RPG, which it is an action RPG, if you wanted to be known as an action RPG, and then say, we're coming for you guys, you could have said that to the most famous action RPGs out right now. Of course, the number one is Elden Ring. And then, of course, like, fucking God of War. God of War Ragnarok. You could have said, hey, we're coming for you, Elden Ring, God of War. We're coming for you. We're coming for you. We're coming for Diablo 4. We're coming for Last Epoch. We're coming for every single action RPG on the market right now that's famous. We're coming for you. Alright? get ready, you know. But they just said we're coming for you, Diablo 4. They just said we're coming for you, Path of Exile. That's it. That's all they said. And it makes you think like, all right, well, it's probably going to be a game like that, huh? But no, I've looked at the promotional material, and guys, I don't like games like that. So I would have known if it was a game like that, and I would not have been happy. I would have ignored it fucking immediately. I would have said, no thanks, not for me. And it ain't a game like that. And if you've seen any of the gameplay promotional material, you'd know it's definitely not like that. Not at all. Not at all like that. And so I wonder, it's like some of these Diablo guys got fucking duped, and seeing them say like, man, I thought it would be like this. They said it in the marketing. I'm like, okay, you know what? If you want to blame their marketing, like, fair. You know, they did say these things that doesn't make any fucking sense regarding the final gameplay. But also, you should have, you know, looked at the trailers for the game and understood. Like, it's there. But there's an extended gameplay out that I covered on this channel. It's there. It's there. It's there to look at and, like, make opinions on. Like, it's fucking... How hard is that? You know? Not at all. It's not hard at all. So that was really confusing. It's just like, I don't understand how people are getting this confused. Like, where is the room for confusion? But, you know, such is life sometimes. Some people just don't pay attention, and then they get confused, and it's like, oh, well, that's your fault. They did use, like, weird marketing terms, but yeah, a lot of people use weird marketing terms, and I think that's fair. I also think it's fair because, in a way, these games have came for Diablo and Path of Exile in the past. If you look at the weighty, regular experience that is your Souls games, it's like, yeah, that's, like, doing much better than those games now. Yeah. There's way more market potential in that genre, in that subgenre of action RPG than there is for this. I mean, that still gonna have their own, audience. It'll always have its own audience, and that's what people were looking for. But guys, there's a term for the type of game that you like. It's called hack and slash. It's called hack and slash. And that's a term that's been used for fucking decades. I guess, like, the interesting thing that they've sort of done in that fan base, and what Blizzard's kind of done, is they've shortened action RPG down to ARPG, and then they've done this weird psychological trick where, to a lot of people, if they hear ARPG, that means Diablo-esque. But if they hear action RPG, that means Elden Ring-like. Like, it's like different things in people's minds, even though they mean the same thing. And that's fair, because if you hear the word JRPG versus the entire typed-out Japanese RPG, you might think of different things, and that's totally fair. Like, if you hear the word CRPG versus computer RPG, you're going to think of probably different things. Like there's going to be a lot more of a broader implication in one rather than the other. And I think that's fair, but shortening action RPG to ARPG and then applying the hack and slash implications on that is ludicrous. It's just redundant. Like, why are we switching these terms for no reason? People are just going to get confused. Old school gamers are going to get left in the dust who just know of it as hack and slash. And new school gamers obviously are confused now with No Rest for the Wicked. And it's just like, okay, well, blame fucking Blizzard for that, I guess. You know, they deserve that. And a lot more blame, too, for different things. But I'm not going to get into that right now. Never really got into Blizzard games in the past, so such is life. You know, doesn't really apply, but, you know, a lot of people who are Blizzard fans are, not very happy with them now. Or now is in, like, the last couple of years and now. And I understand that and I respect it. Ooh. Come on. Also, you know the jerky. Boom! Yes, love that. Yep. Of course, you know, looping everything back around, like going into a very squiggly full circle. Games' identities are much more than just like a camera perspective. They're much more than like, oh, this game is, you know, it's tedious as fuck with its inventory. I guess the game is 50% inventory management and we can't critique that in any way because that's what it's quote unquote trying to be. Like, okay, boss, yeah. They would have marketed as such if that was true. And so, like, the game identity, it's more than durability, it's more than the inconveniences that the game has to offer. It is also just a full scope of, like, fucking things that gameplay has to offer. The actual systems in the main ideas of gameplay. Not just something on the side, which is just either people don't care about that much or is annoying to people. Not just some random bullshit on the side, but the actual main overarching ideas of it. Okay? Not just the camera angle. Not just the annoyances of it, the punishes of it. You know, Valheim isn't defined by its punishment on death. It's defined by the fucking adventure, which involves exploring, gathering, combat, the building, sailing, boss battles. These things combined. Crafting, put crafting in there as well. These things are what defines Valheim. Not its punishment on death. Not the durability system. It was those things that are just on the side. They are a side, secondary element. And not oh, there he is! Fuck yeah, dude. They're not a main aspect of the game. It's just an aspect of the game. This type of exploration, finding the merchant, having this amazing journey with combat, loot, all this experience getting into weird situations on your adventure. That is what Valheim is about. More than your durability, more than your portal quality of life or what have you. It's about shit like this. This is important. And it'd be the same with No Rest for the Wicked too. And you know, I really don't understand why people get obsessed with these limited aspects on early access games. If durability went away in Valheim in the Ashlands patch forever, I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't fucking care. Why does that fucking matter to people? I understand if it is there and if they made it like 20 times worse, I would care. I would say that's fucked up. It shouldn't be that way. It wouldn't be like, no, this is a fundamental part of the game and we can't change it in any way. That's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I really do. Like, some people are fucking on one, dude. Some people are on one. And I totally fucking dipped out. I left those Souls PvP, like any sort of like weird current shill for No Rest for the Wicked or what have you. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm sorry. I'm out. I can't do it. Can't do that at fucking all. Not at all. No type of anti-consumer, anti-quality of life, anti-audience type of display is ever gonna get me to stick around. Fucking ever. Also, people who do like fundamental shit and just speak points against their fundamental concept of being a YouTuber or creator. It's like, Well, you've argued against your own existence. Goodbye. I'll see you later. If you do some anti-analytical shit, but if your channel is about like video game analysis, goodbye. Something like that. Like if you're a commentary channel and you can't handle criticism, like I'm gone. I'm out. I can't handle that. Like I'm not interested in watching people dish out what they can't take. I'm not interested in watching people who would undermine their own existence. Not at all. No. Fucking goodbye. No thanks. And I would expect everybody to fucking leave if I did similar type shit. Like, if I said like, oh no, we can't do good analysis on this. This thing is above good analysis. It's like I would expect a mass unsubscribe from my channel. I would want that in the future. If I was like hit in the head with a hammer and then suffered some weird personality change and I started being anti-analysis and I said like, no, there are no best strategies, just do what you like. And I just started to be like fundamentally unhelpful to people and shit. Fucking, that would be it. It would be over. Like, I would expect no less than a mass departure. And so I'm departing from those guys' communities. Goodbye. I was only on the fringes of them anyway. I didn't do any Souls PvP. There are still plenty of Souls PvPers that I am still very much a fan of. And very much am subscribed to. But not those guys. No, not ever. Not again. No thank you. Yo, look at the belt! That's hype. That's so hype, dude. Let's put this over here. We can finally get back to bronze grind. That's exciting. Let's put that away in here, of course. Let's see. Let's find ourselves a good spot right by the merchant so that we can just set up this portal. Maybe a troll cave entrance or something. I did see a burial chamber and a grey dwarf nest, so maybe there's another, point of interest nearby, like a troll cave, Well, let's clear this nest, just because it is so close to the merchant that it's just going to be fucking annoying. Third hit. Oh, the kill on the third hit. That was beautiful. I would also take a Grey Dwarf Tower. I'd absolutely put this portal in the Grey Dwarf Tower. I need a good view of the surrounding area. Oh, that's a good spot right there. Right there. Put this on the top floor. Have a grand old time. Oh, how did you not see me, man? Skill issue. Another skill issue. Come here. But yeah, I plan to be so fucking good at No Rest for the Wicked once it actually starts like fixing its shit. I plan to do like eventual guides for that and just become like a monster quality in that game. Which is funny because a lot of people, a lot of the weirdos that were arbitrarily defending the bad parts of that game, are some people are doing some people saying some weird shit, man. People are saying some weird shit, namely that people who don't like the lack of quality of life in that game and the fundamentally terrible game design are just bad players, which doesn't make any sense. That doesn't follow at all. Doesn't make any sense. And by the way, I went in and told people that I thought that Elden Ring was too easy, and that I also don't like the shit design present in No Rest for the Wicked. And one guy came at me and said, well, you just googled the best build in Elden Ring, that's why you think it's easy. And I said, fucking slow your roll. Google doesn't tell you that. Google doesn't tell you what the best build in Elden Ring is, okay? The best builds in Elden Ring, you have to go to Titus Actual on YouTube. You have to actually find a specific guy. Now he's got like 90,000 plus subs, so he's not some fucking nobody. But there are a lot of larger, much larger channels that have subs in the millions that made Elden Ring guides that are fucking far inferior, and they'll show up much earlier than Titus's videos when it comes to Elden Ring. So it's just fucking ludicrous idea that the top guides are good enough quality in any game right now to be just like, oh, it's just, guys, it's just on the wiki. Like, no, you fucking have to dig deep, and that's a big issue. That's a huge problem and a terrible indictment on the state of the game. And the fact that he doesn't know that means he laps up whatever fucking nonsense that comes his way. And that guy who thinks that Elden Ring is like decently hard, it's like, well, you don't know how to do build research, fucking idiot. Obviously you think it's too hard. You don't even know how to like properly form a build. You don't know how to like look up and be a part of a community about build making or doing anything. Like, you couldn't tell what was good or bad. Like, no wonder you just are not aware of these things. Jesus Christ. But, you know, normally I wouldn't say such mean-sounding things, but this dude was toxic to me, so he gets all the fucking heat. Let's see. I need to make a portal. Oh, I need more fine wood. Let's go get some. So yeah, it's like a fucking ridiculous statement. Like, I play with so many restrictions, and I even said in the message that he responded to that I play with a ton of restrictions. And yeah, he just ignored that and said, oh yeah, you probably just look up the best builds. It's like, oh, what, the best builds, you know, in the game, right? You know, the thing that I'm critiquing for being too easy, the game? You mean to say that, like, there are aspects of this game that make it too easy? Do you fucking agree with me? What's the problem here? Like, let's get real. Like, Staff of Embers and Staff of Protection make Mistlands too fucking easy. Guess what? You know? I don't think anybody's gonna complain with that. I don't think anybody's gonna be like, oh, well, you know, you just, like, you just look up the best build. Like, you know, this part of the game that you are critiquing, somehow you can't take that into account. It's like, why? Why can't we take out the laundry list of things in Elden Ring that absolutely cheese the fucking game, including the insane vast amounts of spirit summons? Literally just the only single spirit summon that's kind of balanced in that game is the Soul Jars of Fortune, because they blow themselves up. They don't take aggro. They blow themselves up. It is like casting a single spell. And not an OP spell, like an ordinary spell. You know? They take aggro for a fucking split second, and then they die. In a blaze of glory. It's pretty great, actually. It's like, I haven't used it, but theoretically it's very fun. Very silly. And so I look at that, it's like, that. Well, that's a shit ton of stuff that we have to say we don't use, you know? We can just go along and just say, oh, we don't use spirit summons, and that's fine. You know, then it's just one thing, you know, copium. It's just one thing that we don't like. Oh, what about the other weapons that just eviscerate the entire game? In terms of just dominating so hard that, well, with the right amount of buff stacking, they are more effective than even spirit summoning, in the fact that they either one-shot or four-shot any boss. Literally any boss. We don't use those in combination with buff stacking, or we don't use those, period. And, okay, well, there's now like a dozen of other things. We add the spells that could one-shot or dominate as well. And then you could also tack onto that all of the things that are extremely convenient that Miyazaki has started to already nerf because they're too convenient. That being specifically Moonveil. And you use the Moonveil metric to say, like, oh, well, things are too convenient at the point where Miyazaki's going out of his way with From Software and nerfing them. Then it's like, okay, now we can say we're not going to use that as well, because that's just a little too strong. That makes things too convenient, and what's another word for convenience? Easy. So too easy. Do we have anything that's like on this level for just you know, not unnecessarily convenience, but like just below that, just above that in terms of power? Oh, did I not tag it? I did tag it. What's just above convenience in terms of power in Elden Ring? Okay, think of that. Okay, that's more powerful than what we have in Dark Souls 3 already. And Bloodborne. You think of that. The amount of things that you have to not use in order to have the most fun, balanced experience that most players will have with these games. The amount of things that you don't have to use, that you have to restrict yourself from using in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 are 0. And it's only a handful if you go by convenience rather than just all-around OP. Think about that. 0. Now they want to give people the option to smurf, and I took the option. I had a great time doing a bunch of shenanigans. Not as good as a time if I played with all of the restrictions, and the game would be objectively more balanced and harder, objectively, if those things were tuned better or just weren't in the game. It would be. It's just a reality situation. And yet people want to say, oh, well, just, you know, we just don't use them. It's like, no shit, I already don't use them. I already don't do that. Fucking obvious, dude. I have it recorded on YouTube now. It's fucking video evidence now. So what are people even trying to say? No, you can't judge, you know, these parts of the game as being parts of the game because Babby's favorite game will look worse or some shit. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I want to be helpful to the people. I want to give you an accurate representation of what the game is so that people can have a better experience. That people can understand how things are like, especially in their purchase, or for their full enjoyment, or maybe for the future development of games in the similar style of way. I just don't understand. I don't understand that mentality. You can't look at the best of the best thing in order to judge the game's difficulty? What the fuck are you talking about? That's the opposite. You must look at the best of the best thing in order to judge difficulty. I'm not going to judge how difficult a game is based off of a fucking challenge run. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? I would have to qualify my statement, my review, my assessment and analysis with challenge run. And so would everybody else. To be honest. I don't think these people are trying to be fucking honest. I think they're just trying to preserve Babby's favorite game. Well, guess what? It's one of my favorite fucking games too. And I don't play with the best builds. And I can still be honest about it. Jesus Christ. Anyway. Don't get no rest for the wicked yet. Don't do it. As soon as it gets keybinds, I'll be in there. Oh, I'll be in there. But. At its current state, it ain't worth the time. As Scales said, good community member of mine, he said, currently it has anti-fun design. And I agree wholeheartedly, sadly. Alright, thanks for watching. Merchant Search was fucking amazing. We found them. And the rants were cathartic, man. It feels like almost therapy for me. This shit's great. Love to get that shit off my mind. Shout out, like, what's her name? DS Lily or whatever? I forget her actual name, but let's not fuck around here. I'm gonna see. I have it linked in my Discord server. Join the Discord server, link in description, if you want. Yeah, DS Lily. Her video is called No Rest for the Wicked is not there yet. Full review. Yeah, it's an amazing video and it encapsulates wonderful design and honestly probably more mistakes in terms of design errors and also some early access jank that's normal, like weird hitboxes and animations or what have you. That stuff I can excuse, but the conscious terrible design choices, woo, no excuse, no excuse. Only criticism, very constructive criticism. I have things that I can say and that I can list off in video form that would say like, here's how these systems are flawed. This is how like past games or my idea of a fresh way to fix things going forward. I don't want to do that in video form yet because their patch schedule has been so rapid so far that half the shit that I would have ranted about I had to remove from my document, like I mentioned way earlier in the video. So I'm holding off for now. This is going to be the effective version of that, and if we get keybinds in like the next hot fix, then I'm going to be diving in and I'm going to be talking about constructive criticism as I play the game. For now on, that series is on hold, and this series is going full steam ahead. Back to the bronze grind next episode. Again, so much thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.